What's going on, Hatt Clan Fam? I'm super excited to be making this video and being back in my recording space back home. For many of you that probably already know, and for some of you that maybe don't know, I went back to school, started grad school, and I've been in school for almost about 2 months now. Into a brand new location, moved about an hour away from home, a little more than that. And it's been kind of a really interesting experience with COVID and all the things that are going on in the world right now. And so it's been really hard for me to kind of like make videos, and it's exciting to make a video because I haven't made one in so long, and it's been a nice little kind of break from making videos all the time and posting content. I was going to a normal upload schedule of at least 3 to 4 times a week, and it was kind of stressful at times because I was always feeling like I needed to publish content. I was always feeling like I needed to make tutorials and like put things out there, and at certain times it seemed like it was really kind of stressful. And now going back to school with my really busy schedule, it's been kind of nice to take a break. But I do miss making videos, so I'm hoping that sometime that I can find any free time, I can go back to making some cool videos for you guys. But I wanted today to talk a little bit about my experiences about going to school during a COVID pandemic, or going to school, being a student during COVID. For many of my viewers out there, I'm sure that some of you can relate, whether that's an online platform or a hybrid platform or a combination of the both. It's been a really interesting experience for me because my first 3 weeks that I moved in on campus were all completely online. Our school evaluated the situation of all the COVID cases in the state of Michigan and also on campus, and we all had to get COVID tested before we could, move in and before we could start classes, which was really ironic because we weren't even in person yet at this point. But I respect and understand the protocols. And the challenging thing about it was the first 3 weeks, if you've never taken online classes before, there's a little bit of a learning curve to it. So regardless of your online platform that you use, most schools have some type of online interface that they facilitate their classes with. It takes a little while to get used to that, and it's an adjustment period. So for the first 3 weeks, I struggled a little bit just because I was so not used to this online thing, and like I was in this brand new location, didn't know anybody around me, wasn't, everything is socially distanced, and like the interactions that you do have with people are solely through online interface. So it was a really interesting experience for me. And even now, even with some of the classes that I have that are in person are still really awkward at times because everything is still really socially distanced. They're weighing a lot of precedence on this, which is a really good thing. And it's just kind of weird. And so I wanted to talk today again about the idea about going to school during a pandemic and kind of like what that looks like. I think first and foremost you have to really kind of like set yourself aside and think to yourself like, do I really want to do this thing? Is it worth going to school during this whole kind of thing? And is it also like worth me maybe taking a year off or maybe reconsidering my options? Well, for me, I did not want to take another year off. I took a year off between my undergrad and grad school already as it was, so I really didn't want to like take another year off. And like before this whole virus and everything, I didn't realize that at the time that this was going to be a problematic issue, which nobody did. But so I decided that I did not want to take another year off, and that I wanted a sense of normalcy, and I wanted to continue my education. And so in doing so, I definitely feel like I made the right decision, but in the same regard, it's also difficult because so many of my classes are online, and as a music student, specifically a music performance major, it's really difficult to facilitate lessons and stuff like that online when so much of that is reliant on being in person. I definitely believe that other academic pursuits can be put online, and you can have a successful school year being put online for other, again, majors and other, endeavors in education. But specifically for music, it's really difficult. My first 3 weeks, I had jazz band and I had choir online, which was really hard to accomplish a lot. I mean, it was somewhat enjoyable, I guess, but it was still nonetheless a challenge. And it posed a lot of issues for other students as well. And I think that's really a hard thing to consider because for some people, we're visual learners and we might need to have that human interaction where we can say, okay, I need to raise my hand and ask a question. And it was really uncomfortable at times to have to raise my hand through a Zoom screen and say, hey, Professor so-and-so, I have this question regarding X, Y, and Z. Can you please clarify? And that's hard, you know, because sometimes like some of these classes that I know are so large that you would raise your hand and there's like 3 or 4 pages of faces on Zoom, and the professor can't see all these people. So that was a bit of a challenge, but now that I am sort of having a little bit of a hybrid experience where I have some classes that are in person, which thankfully are the more music related classes, not so much the theory and the music history and the stuff like that, but it's definitely really, really interesting. And I think we're in a weird time right now too, because technology is really, really fantastic. I think we're in such an amazing time with the way that technology is and how we are all interconnected because of internet and social media platforms and these things of that nature. But technology is also only so good when it comes to online interaction, when it requires video and talking and live feed and stuff. It's just not all that great. Zoom, I do all my lessons through like FaceTime and Zoom and stuff, and there's a lot of latency issues. So sometimes, like when I'm practicing and I'm showing my professor a piece, when I'm working on a piece, whatever, it's difficult. It's challenging. I'm not gonna lie, because it's like sometimes when I'm playing, like it's like maybe just a microsecond behind what the professor is hearing, and vice versa. When my professor's playing, that's kind of challenging, but I respect what's going on in the world. But I think if you're definitely looking to, fulfill yourself and fulfill a sense of normalcy, I think going to school during the pandemic is totally worth it, regardless of the situation. And we have to do the best that we can with everything that's going on with the world, and we have to deal with the best with what we're given at this point. And for me, I couldn't imagine, like, if I wasn't going to school right now, I have no idea what I'd be doing. I mean, I'd probably be making a lot more videos and teaching a lot, but it's just like I needed to have that sense of like fulfillment, that I was learning, that I was progressing. A little about me is I'm a very forward-thinking person, so I'm always thinking about the future, and I'm always looking about progression and getting to that next tier, getting to that next level. And I always like to sit back at the end of the day and reflect at the things that I've done during the day, the things that I've accomplished, the things that I've worked on. And I'm a very goal-setting person when it comes to daily activities, even in the most simplest terms, like, okay, I need to go grocery shopping, I need to go get gas, or I need to go do this or whatever. I'm very, very always forward thinking about that, and I'm always kind of like conscientious about like setting goals and like getting things done. So it's nice to see this all kind of like playing out and kind of getting all these things going on. But I'm gonna go make a cup of tea, so let's go do that. Alright, so you guys will have to kind of forgive me because there's a bunch of background noise and stuff, so try to just disregard that I'm doing laundry and a bunch of other stuff right now. But anyway, to continue on with my point here, I think the frustrating thing about going to school right now during this time is, like, I don't know, maybe other people can testify to this or not, but because everything is in such an online platform, normally classes that meet in person wouldn't require all this extra busy work, quote unquote. And I say that because it's not that I'm trying to avoid homework and that I don't want to do homework. I really enjoy doing that kind of stuff and learning about what I'm working on. But the frustrating thing about it is, like, some of these things that we would just discuss in normal person lecture, we're getting assignments for it that are just, like, in my opinion, like, unnecessary busy work. And that's kind of frustrating because as a performance major, like, my biggest goal in life is to just play guitar and learn as much about his music as I possibly can, but specifically play as much as I can, because that's my most enjoyment about music, is playing. I love learning new music, and I love just playing, and whether that's performing or just sitting in a little space learning a new song, a piece of music or whatever. I just want to play. That's my excitement about being a guitarist and a musician, is just playing. And it's frustrating because I feel like I'm bogged down with so much book work, which I get it. School is going to require book work. I understand that. But as a performance major, I feel like most of my emphasis should be on developing my craft, right? So working on technique, working on, pieces and repertoire, and getting really, really good at that, right? And sometimes that's just definitely not entirely all the case. Ooh, that was hot. Highly recommend. Very, very good stuff. Good for the soul. also, to my point, I think it's equally as frustrating when, because of COVID and all of the restrictions from the CDC and especially the school's guidelines, those in-person classes that we do have, which are primarily rehearsals, being like choir and jazz band, we can only rehearse for so much time at a given interval, and then we have to take a long unnecessary break. I mean, it's not unnecessary. I mean, unnecessary in my opinion, but we have to take this really long break, and then we can rehearse for only like 30 minutes at a time. So our first, like, we basically rehearse 30 minutes on, 20 minutes off, 30 minutes on, and then we're done for the day. It's frustrating because normally these rehearsals would be, you know, just about 2 hours, about an hour and 50 to an hour and 45 minutes or so. And we can't even have like a thorough rehearsal, and it's just frustrating because I feel like I bring in all this gear and I set all my stuff up just like everybody else does, and then all of a sudden, bam, we have to pull the plug because, you know, COVID, we have to let the virus subside if someone's carrying it in the room that we're in. And it just makes everything seem like you're getting less of an education because you have to do all of these special things in consideration of the virus, which, again, I'm not saying that we shouldn't be doing these things. I respect them 100%. But it's just like an unnecessary like feeling of like, why do we have to do this? But again, I understand the safety protocols and why we have to do that. But also, I feel like because of the virus and everything and all of the class schedules that I have, I feel like I don't necessarily have the added time that I'd like to do the things that I'd like, because we have to take all these extra necessary precautions. So because of limited time constraint, normally in like jazz band, maybe we would work through our solos. Like, let's say we're doing a couple pieces in jazz band that have a lot of open sections, so like we would rehearse our solos and stuff. But because of that, we're like, okay, we're just going to run through the song straight. We're not going to do any of the solo sections because we don't have time for it, because of, again, we have to take all these breaks because of COVID. And it's just kind of a downer because these are like, those, even things like that are things that you look forward to in jazz band. You're like, oh man, I've been practicing the solo in my own time. Like, I can't wait to show my peers or whatever, working on it over this chord progression. And that can kind of be annoying and frustrating. Just because of all the things that are going on with COVID, you have to be so mindful, I guess. But again, it's not that I don't respect it. It's just expressing my frustrations, if you will. So in closing here, I just want to say thank you for all of my support over the last few months of the summer and everything. And just all you guys have been great. All of your comments, I make sure to read every single comment I always get, and I try to reply to every single one, unless it's like, you know, a reply to another comment or something. But I try to always be really on the lookout for that stuff, and I always really do appreciate all your guys' feedback and your love. I'm hoping to get back into maybe a more routine upload schedule. Again, it's been a really big challenge for me. I'll go over my schedule real quick because it's insane. So Monday through Friday I have class. Friday nights after I get out of class, I come back home because I teach on Saturday mornings at an academy in my hometown. And so then Saturday I teach for a good majority of the day, and then Saturday is pretty much shot after that. And then Sunday I usually stick around for a couple hours, and then I usually leave about mid-afternoon. And then I drive home to campus to my apartment, and then I do it all over again. So it just seems like I don't really have all that much time, and it kind of stinks because on weekends I used to feel like I used to be able to get a lot accomplished on the weekends. Which I'm not complaining. I love my schedule, and you know, it's good to keep busy, but it would be nice to have a little bit of a break sometimes, and I honestly really do not like the drive that I have to do every weekend. I mean, it's not that I'm driving a lot. It's just an annoying drive, really, more than anything. And to me, it's just a time vampire, and I always equate things to my daily schedule about how I could utilize that time in terms of practice. So like, since it's like, you know, basically like driving like pretty much like 3 hours every single weekend, a 3-hour drive to and there. To me, I always think about, well, if I use that 3 hours to practice, like I would be 3 hours into this piece, or I'd be 3 hours better than I was the next day on this piece or whatever. So I always equate things in terms of time. I know that's kind of maybe dorky, but that's just the way my brain works. But yeah, I'm hoping to really make some more videos too. Eastern Michigan University is a beautiful campus. I really love their campus. They got a lot of cool things going on there. I was really hoping to shoot some videos there, but it's hard to kind of find a recording space because the only place that I can really record is in the apartment, and it's pretty echoey. So I don't know if it's necessarily the most ideal space to record, but I definitely would like to maybe add in the possibility of recording some cool videos there. I definitely have already been working on some holiday music. I have a lot of students that are already working on that, so I have a lot of cool holiday pieces coming up that I'm really excited to share with you guys, and different arrangements that I've been working on and stuff. But anyhow, that's it for the video, so I hope you guys really enjoyed. Just stay tuned. I got some stuff coming for you guys. I mean, it might not be as quick as it was before, not doing my daily uploads like I was every single week, but just stick around. I really appreciate all your guys' support. And again, my biggest goal with YouTube, as I always kind of mention, is to build up a kind of a bit of a following, so that if people ever want to go into further studies in their musical journey, that they can take private lessons with me. Actually, this is a personal invite, so if you're looking to take private lessons with me, if you've made it to the end of the video, you should definitely check out my website and see if you may be interested in that. I have a couple students that I actually teach that have found me off of YouTube, so if they're watching, shout out to you. I have a student from California, super awesome guy. I have a student right here in Michigan. So I love kind of building that up and working with you guys. So if you ever want to go into any of this stuff in your musical journey further, definitely let me know. I can definitely try to help you out, whether that's in classical or jazz studies or the alternative indie stuff. I really enjoy teaching and trying to teach people my way of understanding music and all the education that I have learned from studying music education. So with that being said, I hope you guys are all well. Take care. I wish you all the best and great health, and stay healthy from COVID and everything like that. And I will catch you all in the next video. Take care.